All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am James Oliver Jr., co founder and CEO of Kabila. Kabila is an inclusive co founding matching app, and we have a global community of startup founders where we connect BIPOC and women founders to capital and each other. And we're doing our Kabila conversation series, and I am just so thrilled. We have a super duper 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 treat for you today. I'm a 3-time founder, and on my own with my first startup, I was able to get it featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Money Magazine, DIY Network, CNBC's version of Shark Tank, all these different things. So I know, understanding how to get PR is a nuanced thing and it's a skill. But the problem is, from what I see and from relationships with reporters I have, most founder pitches are terrible. So today we have a treat for you. The amazing, the inimitable Dominic Madori-Davis, senior TechCrunch reporter on VC and startups. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dominic, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for making time. I know you're like insanely busy and you're just you're just like doing God's work out in these, tech startup reporting streets. Oh my God. So just a quick bio, and we're just going to jump right into this because I know a lot of people out there are going to have a ton of questions. So Dominic has been on leading the reporting of the inequities in venture capital for BIPOC and women founders, reporting that despite frothy times in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, Black founders consistently get about 1% of VC funding, and women founders get, as of last year, 1.9% of VC funding. And I know Dominic probably gets tons of founders reaching out to her for pitches and support and write-ups, and I know that they're terrible, some of them. so asked if she would be game to come and just share with everybody how to effectively pitch when you want to get reporting from a quality publication like TechCrunch. So welcome, Dominic. How's it going?
Hi.
All right. So everybody, if you're coming in, just in this comment section, just drop where you're coming in from. Drop your questions in the comments. We're streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as on YouTube. Drop your questions in the comments. We will do our best to get to all the comments. So just where's everybody coming in from? If you could just drop in the comments, let us know where you're coming in from, and we'll get right into this, and we'll get to all your questions as soon as we can. So Dominic, can you share an example of an approach that somebody used when they reached out to you for media coverage that was, let's describe it as suboptimal?
Suboptimal. You mean like really bad?
I was trying to be nice, but yeah.
There's always I don't want to say anyone's bad because first of all, I got much love for PR people. I know that it's hard out here. But some pitches are just, some are awkward. Like during Black History Month, sometimes people like to quote MLK. Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Wait, what?
There's like weird pitches. I'm trying to think of the worst ones because I'm trying to think. I don't know because I have like 40,000 emails in my inbox right now, and I am not looking through them. So a lot of the times, I just revealed that I'm not looking at a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of the times, like there's not even enough time to get through every pitch that comes. And so the subject headline is really important. And then the subject headline is also sometimes cringy for some people. I don't know. I don't want to call anyone out.
Yeah. You don't have to say who, but yeah, tell us what.
I'm trying to think. There's so many. I'm trying to like go through the past 4 years of me receiving pitches and trying to think of the worst ones. I don't know. Anything that lies. If you lie in your pitch, don't do that. Especially because we will find out. I'm trying to think. Bad subject headlines. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there's so many. Trust me.
That's all good. So we got people coming in from all over the place: New York, Atlanta, San Jose, Boston, Columbus, Queen City. I assume that's Charlotte. I don't know. Snehurst in New York, Denver, more Atlanta people, Boston, just all over the place. People are coming in from. I love this. Chris is like, call them out. Yeah, we're not going to do that, Chris. We're not here to be messy. So I was going to ask you for so what are some tips that people, to have a good approach with you? So you said one was use a good subject line. So can you think of an example of a good subject line someone you should use?
One that gets to the point. If you are, well, actually, I will step back and I'll say, I think a really easy way to connect with journalists is first offer yourself up as a source on something. Saying like, oh, if you're working on something for AI, I might have insights into this. Because, we get a lot of fundraising announcements and stuff. We're a small team. We can't cover every one of them. But if you start building a relationship with journalists, go get coffee, do something informal. That's kind of an easier way to get within their realm and their network. So that they always have you top of mind and think about, or they like come and check up with you like, hey, how's your company doing? Or, hey, do you know someone like this? I mean, I connect with like a bunch of people on Twitter, which is probably why I don't look at my inbox as often, because I'm always on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram. That might be a generational thing. But a lot of the times when I connect with founders and stuff, it's not necessary to cover their companies, but it's to say like, hey, do you have any insight on this topic? Or do you have friends that can? Like I just did something in New Orleans. And in order for me to get sourced up in New Orleans, I had to reach out to a VC that I met on Twitter who was based in Chicago, who then put me in touch with like his NOLA network and stuff like that. And so I would say kind of start also on social media because a lot of journalists, our inboxes are hounded, and so are social medias, honestly. But that way you kind of, I don't know, you can find ways to seep into an inbox saying like, hey, connecting, we connected on Twitter, or you can say like, hey, get to the point of what your company is and what it does. Hey, raised 43 million or something, or hey, I don't know. The thing about pitching is that it's really up to the reporter in terms of if they're interested, and it's always a hit or miss. You never know what a reporter is working on in any given week. You could be right one week and wrong the next. And if you hit that wrong week, you're probably not getting a response. Or there's like a lot of people who I read their pitches because even when pitches are written bad, I look at the gist of what they're saying and what they can offer. And there's some people that I put a star next to. Like I don't respond to them, but I start in my inbox and then I don't respond or because it hasn't come up yet for me to use them. And so it's kind of like a hit or miss. But I think the best way is to kind of get within the source network and say like, hey, maybe let's go out for coffee. Let's talk about what I'm building. And that might be the easiest thing.
Okay. So this is a great example because this is exactly how we connected. Except I know you just said ask for coffee, but I think if people start asking you for coffee, you're not going to have time for that. Most likely it's still going to be a no. So, we met because of the article. We were just talking about this in backstage when you dropped the article last summer about Black founders getting only 0.43% of funding. And, as a 3-time Black founder, I was furious about that. And at the time I was going through Techstars Austin and I was really upset about it. And I voiced my frustration about it on social media. And I think I just pinged you and probably said something in your DM that I wasn't going to say on Twitter. And you were like, thanks for reaching out. And then I think you appreciated the authenticity of how I reached out to you. And then you ping me back. You would say, hey, based on this feedback and the back and forth with you and some other people, if you want to talk about your experience, here's an anonymous Google form.
Oh, remember yeah, I have the form.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Here's a form. You could tell your story publicly or do it anonymously. I submitted some stuff. I did it anonymously because I was in the middle of some stuff. I didn't want to, I didn't need those problems. So I did that for you. And then afterwards, you wrote another article, so where do we go from here as a Black founders? And because I engaged with you authentically, you asked me to contribute to it.
Well, yeah, see, this is a good way to get journalists to respond. If you respond to some of their work or like send them a link saying, hey, I read this article and I really loved this and it resonated with me. Because like a lot of times people, when they're messaging us, they want something. And so sometimes just starting off not with any ask, but just a basic like, hey, this meant a lot to me. That's a good way to start building an authentic relationship.
Be human.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of people forget journalists are people. And you see that in the way that they speak to us. But, that's the easiest way. Just be human.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this went on even more. So I contributed, and you had other people who contributed, and you took the best that was appropriate for the article. You put in an excerpt, you excerpted it, and you added to the article. And then you reached out to me. You were like, hey, TechCrunch is going to provocatively, I cannot believe TechCrunch did. I was so excited about it.
I was messaging, I was with the social team, and I was like, I want something sensationalized. I want the headline that's just, old school tabloid style.
Oh my God. I was just like, wow, it was why won't VCs fund Black founders? This was a Twitter space. I was like, holy crap. Can't believe they did that, but I was here for it. Right. And you asked me to participate. So at the top, you came to me and asked me my opinion. So I'm not like bragging about me being involved in it, but the point is like how I approached you. I didn't come to you on some, hey, we just raised a couple $1 million, right? Because at the end of the day, like nobody cares about that. That's not even an interesting story for you to write about, right?
No, it's really not. But I love people succeeding, but it's also like, sometimes it's just me rewriting a press statement. Sometimes I'm like, you could have put this on a Medium post. But I do love telling people stories. I do. But that's another thing. Like, I guess when even if you are pitching those type of stories, you should add more context into something where it's like, well, why do you need a reporter to help you say that, or what you want to say?
Yes.
Add more context to stuff.
100%. So I just want to pause here for a second. Everybody listening in the sound of my voice, can you please share this? Whatever social media chat platform you're watching this on, just hit the share button, invite your followers and friends to come join us. This is an important conversation. Like PR can be extraordinarily helpful for you if you get into the right publication. I mean, I have an opinion, like PR does not necessarily equal cash flow. I think that's the misconception that a lot of founders have. They think if they get a massive hit in a publication like, Wall Street Journal or TechCrunch or wherever, that it's going to somehow solve your customer acquisition problems. And I'm here to tell you, because all that PR I mentioned at the top, Good Morning America, Today Show 3 times, et cetera, I got in my first startup. My first startup still failed. We still had a fundamental customer acquisition problem. We got some spikes in sales, but then after that, it goes back to normal. You still got to figure out how to acquire customers. So drop your questions in the comments here, everyone. Somebody said, I may have missed it, but James, please shout out the source of your amazing t-shirt. Yes. Get you a therapist. So this was actually a gift. This is a Dr. Charmaine Jackman. So I have a foundation called the Parentpreneur Foundation, which empowers Black parents Black parentpreneurs so they can leave a legacy for their beautiful Black children. And Dr. Jackman is a member of my community. She received a grant from us. Her platform is called InnoPsych, INNO Psych, PSYCH.com, I think. And it's a directory of minority and maybe BIPOC, maybe Black therapists that you could go to and find out how to get talk to somebody like that. But she gave this to me. I don't know if she sells this on her website, but this is my favorite t-shirt. I wear it probably once a week. So that's where I got that one, Jessica. I apologize. I don't know if you can actually cop one. But if you find Dr. Charmaine Jackman and tag her on LinkedIn, tell her you saw me wearing it, maybe she'll send you one. I don't know. So we got another question here. Thanks, Dominic. This is super helpful. I have many questions, but pressing ones would be relevant pitch angles right now and the best follow-up practices after sending the pitch. Great question.
Yeah, I mean, best pitch angles right now. Well, a lot of journalists, we have to write it's like journalism is this weird thing of creating news, but then also following the news. So looking at relevant topics and like relevant news events that are happening. And then, I mean, this happens a lot with PR people anyway, but they're just like, when something happens, they're like, oh, I have a client that can be a source for this. And I don't know about how like other journalists, if this always works for them. But I think that, if I'm doing something on pressing news, or if I'm writing a story about AI, which is like really big right now, it's always good to have people who are just like, oh, by the way, AI is really, really hot right now, and I can talk about this. Thank you, because I need that immediately. So keeping up with the trends and then pitching yourself as a source with those trends. And then, I mean, I always say like as a source, because then when you interview with a journalist, you can always kind of plug in what you're doing to help alleviate whatever or aiding whatever. And maybe an editor will take that part out, but for the most part, it puts you on a reporter's radar. But yeah, so that was just a long way of saying pitch relevant, timely news, trends, all of that stuff.
So another sneaky thing. So if you go to TechCrunch.com, you look at Dom's bio, you can see what she's writing about, right? And
Yeah.
if you Dom's reels she's she's using content to create layers of content. So she writes about one thing, and it's some aspect of what she wrote about. That's the next thing she writes about. I see you doing that all the time,
Yeah.
though.
Okay. So yeah. So a lot of journalists, like, we have patterns that you can kind of match, or you can see, you like
Yes.
go to the author bio and then see what like the reporting schedule is. So yeah. So, oh my goodness, you noticed that. So I do a small article, and now people know once I do a small hit like that, there's usually a larger analysis piece coming.
Yep. You got the graphs that come right after it.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's another thing to always look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I guess that goes into the point of just knowing which journalists to pitch what. I mean, because a lot of times we get pictures that are wrong for us, and we do send them around to other reporters in the newsroom. But also sometimes we don't have time.
No, you don't.
So knowing, I don't even have a bio on my on my TC page because I don't know, but so I
It's
guess
obvious though. If you just take a second and look, it's obvious what you write about.
I know.
It's so obvious. And so this is the thing and the point you were making. So I have a relationship with a woman who has a column at Wall Street Journal, Parents in Tech. And I reached out to her because of my Parentpreneur Foundation to see if I could connect her with some of the people in my community to get them exposure. And she was just like, look, I write about certain things, certain times. And, if there's somebody that's a good fit for that, that's great. But nobody's just going to pitch me and I'm going to write about them. I'm writing about, kids and screen time and kids and phones and kids in this and technology. This is with the kids and the family. So, but I just stay in touch with her. I see her content. I share it every once in a while. I drop her an email, say, how's it going? Love this article. And so she pinged me once. She was doing an article about something. And I said, yeah, I have a perfect person. I referred her and she got the person from my community got included in that article. So if you just stay in touch with people, if you give first, like if connect with them on social, when they share content, when they write stuff, share it. Like you guys want people to read your stuff, right?
Yes, please share our stuff so we can keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, share it.
Yeah, because like the more you engage, like more than likely what happens is a journalist puts you on their radar, and and you don't know when they're going to reach out, but you are on the radar. You're in the Rolodex, and so yeah.
That's it. Be human. Like, be giving. Stop asking for stuff. Like, give something first. And to that point, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to the map for you on this, Dom. TechCrunch Plus. If you like the important work that Dominic is one of the few people out here in these tech startup writing streets going to the mat for BIPOC and women founders and saying the things out loud that nobody else is willing to say. So if that matters to you, you want to keep seeing that, and you want Dominic to be able to boss up at TechCrunch and be like, look, I'm driving all these eyeballs and all these subscriptions to TechCrunch Plus. I got a TechCrunch Plus subscription because I appreciate the work that Dominic is doing. And I want to see more of it. So get a subscription, right? Tweet at her with the, hey, Dom, look at the receipt. I just got my subscription. You did that. Thank you so much. And copy TechCrunch, right? Just little things like that. Just give, like, she's human, just like she said. So Jessica, this is the link for InnoPsych. You could go there if you want to learn more about this shirt. Did you want to make a comment about that, Dom?
Oh, I mean, yes, please let people know. I mean, it was interesting because like when I do those articles about women and people of color, and who does and who doesn't get funding. Those tend to do really, really well, which is always good to see. But it's also really important because it shows, okay, here's all this information, and knowing how I phrase things, because I like to cover like the intersection of like race, gender, and class. And so I'm like, okay, here's all of these new people who are now reading and absorbing all this information. And hopefully they go back into the venture ecosystem and they cite this stuff to their friends at dinner parties, at happy hours where all tech people go. And hopefully it gets, more of a conversation happening. But that, I mean, media is a business, and it runs like a business. And so that means, of course, subscribe. Subscribe.
100%. So if this work matters to you, please subscribe to TechCrunch Plus. It was like $20 a month or $10 a month, something like that. It's not much. I read it. I enjoy the articles. I'm thankful for Dom.
There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff.
100%. So Daniela, shout out to parentpreneurs, extra loud for mompreneurs. It's hard out here. Listen, anybody knows me. I wrote a book called The More You Hustle, the Luckier You Get. You can be a successful parentpreneur. That's the realest book about entrepreneurship you never read and never heard of, but go on Amazon, check that out. The reviews are fire. I have the Parentpreneur Foundation, and I also have a podcast called Parents Making Profits. So yes, I'm all about that parentpreneur life, Daniela. And she says, did we know Techstars Atlanta has a huge number of parentpreneurs? I was actually down there on Monday or Tuesday working out at the Atlanta Techstars office, hanging out with my girl, Anastasia. We actually have a conversation coming. Do you know Anastasia?
I don't know.
She's the investment principal for Techstars Atlanta.
You might be connected on Twitter.
I feel like you should know her. She's really, really dope. But we'll actually be doing a Kabila conversation in a couple of weeks about how to submit a great application for Techstars Atlanta. So if you want to apply to Techstars Atlanta, follow me, join our community. Let's see, we got some more comments I want to get to. Hey, if you guys are listening, can you please share this out? Share it. Somebody says their best t-shirt is therapy is dope. Here's a question. Would you recommend that we invite journalists? Yes. Huh?
Yes, I read the first line of the sentence. Yes. I always tell people the easiest way to get to woo a journalist, invite us to your event and have drinks, literally free drinks and appetizers. That's all it takes.
Oh,
free alcohol.
Oh, you just gave me the cheat code, because we're about to be launching our co-founder matching app here in Atlanta and going around town and having events. I just need to invite reporters. That's all I got to do.
Yes, we love free stuff. Or not free stuff. We can't take free stuff, but we like a good free drink and an appetizer. We love events. We like being a part of it. It makes us feel cool, honestly. Yes, invite them to everything you do where there is a nice open bar. So yeah.
Yes. All right. So we got tons of comments here. Articles are super insightful.
Oh, hey.
Yes. You know Chantel?
Yes.
Chantel is one of my Twitter besties. Hey, Chantel. High five. Also a parentpreneur. Yes, Cecilia. That's what's up. Parentpreneurs unite. What else we got here? I do happen to know a queer, Black, disabled woman founder of a social impact tech startup building an AI-enabled solution to bridge mental health care equity gaps. And they were finalists in the Microsoft AI for Accessibility Grant Global Competition last fall. Amazing.
That's cool.
So I haven't seen you writing a whole lot. I know this is coming now that we're going to mention this. Dom, you have been writing a lot about LGBTQ queer issues. Is that coming or not?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I've written a few articles about what it's like for trans founders. The main part is just finding data to put an article around. So I've definitely been looking into it. And yeah, I mean, I've been poking around.
Yeah. So I will tell you, in my Kabila community and my foundation community, I have Madeline Beck, who's launching something called the Better Spot, which is it's an app in a community, a wellness community of health wellness providers. I think she might be interesting for you to talk to. And then Tara is in my community. She's doing some interesting things. I know a bunch of people doing that. So if you meet some people to talk to, let me know. I got you.
Yeah, send them through.
All right. So Aleem's dope. Aleem's in my Kabila community. He actually moderates the no code space. and he's doing some incredible things with no code. And he wants to know, is there a list of reporters by city somewhere?
I know that there are lists that PR people like. They have some type of system. I know where they're able to track reporters. I don't know if there is a list that is accessible to like the general public. But if you're looking for like a specific city, the easiest way to find kind of maybe a local reporter, or it depends. If you want like local reporting, you can Google like local newspaper in, you know, this city, and kind of tap into the local scene, click an article, see who's on the byline, and kind of maneuver your way around there. If you're doing like national, I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure, what is it, like USA? One of those networks has like, I think they're like the Gannett publications. They have them in every city. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to kind of find. You could go. What I do sometimes is you could go to like LinkedIn and type in like reporter, and then put like a city or an outlet that you know,
Yeah.
and then profiles will pop up, and then you can kind of, I don't know. I mean, that might be like a lot of research and investigative work.
Yeah, but I think founders need to just start local. Like the easiest way to get PR is you're not going to just wake up tomorrow and get a write up in TechCrunch. That's just not typically how that works. You're not going to get on Today's Show tomorrow. That's not normally how that works. But if you start locally, and just think about the publications or the news websites or shows you want to be on, and then go find out who the people are who are covering the things that you're about. It's
Yeah,
going to be, I mean, here locally, I've been on WSBT Channel 2. I've been on the Perspectives radio show, which is on like Kiss 104 and all these other stations here. I've been on I've been in Hypotamus a bunch of times. I've been in Atlanta, all these different publications. Because if you start locally and you just reach out to the people who are doing the things and just make a good pitch, like she said, you have a good subject line. I sent a cold email to Mark Cuban years ago when I had a blog before I started my foundation, and because I wanted to interview him for my blog, and the subject was Mark, because if you put somebody's name in the subject line, you get a 20% increase rate in open. Mark, you're an inspiration for parentpreneurs everywhere. He probably was like, wait, what? Parentpreneurs, what is that? So it's not something that you see. If it's Shark Tank, he sees that crap all the time. He's not even looking at that.
No, like never underestimate local news. People always overlook local reporting, which, you know, I cut my teeth in local reporting. So, I mean, my home paper only had like 2 or 3 people that worked at the paper. And although we were a small party, I mean, like not me reading boat party and then saying party. Although we were a small group, I mean, people love reporting on locals. They love highlighting success stories from the neighborhood. And that is a way to garner, like, you know, regional traction and kind of build up a resume of things that you have, which I don't know if this will help in terms of investment as well, in terms of if someone's like, hey, I want to move to New Orleans, who are the hottest entrepreneurs here? And it's like, oh, well, here's this one guy who got written up in every local paper. I mean, that might be, you know, don't underestimate local reporters.
Yeah, no, they're and look, everybody needs content. So if you have a compelling story, and you approach them the right way, you have a good chance of getting written up locally. So here's someone that says, if you want to write about funding in Africa, hit them up.
Yes, I can put you in touch with Tej, a reporter who covers Africa.
Look at that. So in terms of reaching you on, because I think I put this up before. Hang on, I got these banners. I was all prepared. Yes, Twitter. How can they reach you? Follow Dom on Twitter.
Twitter. I'm trying to reach 10K.
Where are you at now?
Like 8,200.
Oh, okay. Go follow Dom on Twitter.
You can follow me on Instagram too. I have my Instagram is a professional account. So it's all just professional stuff.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I post memes. I post memes in my stories. So come for chaotic meme content as well.
Love it. So that's the best way for people to reach you, is it hit you up on Twitter. You know, for Kabila, we have an amazing community. You can learn more. Just join Kabila.com. We're connecting BIPOC and women founders to capital and each other. We have an amazing change to our business model coming up. I think I DM'd you about that. Still confidential though. We can't talk about it yet. And if you want to join the waitlist for our co-founder matching app, you can visit joinkabila.com. I'm just trying to get to these last couple of comments here because I know we got to hop. Let's see. All right. Quick question. Thank you for the great insight. Is there a difference in how we should approach a local journalist versus national, build a relationship, then pitch? The time is right. I think it's all the same. What do you think, real quick, Dom?
No, yeah. I mean, there's no harm in also wooing a local journalist. But there you might have a little bit more more of an easier time kind of just cold emailing or doing like a colder reach out. But everyone likes to feel special, everyone likes, I don't know how often local reporters just get to meet with, local business people and have someone say, hey, let's go out to coffee and talk. There's like a lot of situations happening right now in local news where these big companies are trying to shut them down, and so just showing any type of love and insight to the reporters on the ground, I think is a good way to come up as a source, and probably will lead to a story sooner or later, since they have print deadlines, but they're also always looking to highlight the community.
All right, there you go. All right, so everybody, if this was helpful for you, please share it. Just hit the share button, hit the like button. Please share it. Dom, do you have a hard stop? Do you have to hop right now?
Oh, no.
Okay. If you can stay around in the background for just like 2 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please share this. Tag some of your friends who might benefit from understanding how to pitch, a badass reporter like Dom and getting a dope publication like TechCrunch. You can't just show up and throw up. You got to be human. You got to be compelling, be helpful. I think those are some of the ways you could get this done. And we'll see y'all next time, a couple weeks. If you follow me here on LinkedIn, we're going to be talking to Anastasia Nicole, how to apply and get into Techstars Atlanta. And then at the end of the month, we'll be talking to Allie Merritt, who's the managing director of Atlanta Tech Village, about how to survive and how to thrive, actually, as an early stage startup founder in Atlanta. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll be doing more of this. Stay tuned. See you next time. Peace.